Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 312th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Straight away, you may notice that this battle has been fought on a custom map supplied by Brotherhood member Crypto, who's got a lot of custom maps in his collection of maps. As you can see, it's nice to fight on a custom map from time to time. And our first teammate is Brotherhood member Crypto, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. As I say, newer players for Rome Total War, I know you like looking at our army builds. So you can see there, I think he's got 12 infantry, 2 archer units. Let's have a look at the upgrades. As you can see on the archer units here, he's got gold shield, gold attack. And on his infantry there, can you see he's got 7 upgrades. So that's an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. I think from what I can see, he's got several mixed upgrades on his infantry. Yeah, some of his infantry, probably the ones with the smaller upgrades, are going to be his pilot shield units there. So say got 12 infantry, 2 archers, and I think it looks like he's got 6 cavalry, and on his cavalry he's just got gold shield, gold attack. So that's quite a good army there. It'll be interesting to see how well it does during the course of the battle. And our next teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who's bought that old army of 12 infantry and 6 cavalry. As I say, I've been fighting with that army now for maybe 7 or 8, maybe even 9 years, and it's a real tried and tested army. It'll be interesting to see how well it does during the course of the battle. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Legion 22, who has bought his faction of choice, Macedon. Legion has become very good with the Macedon faction. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his pikeman. Right, you can see there he's got 8 upgrades, so that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. That makes these pikemen extremely serious. Once again, new players for Rome Total War see these long pikes here. Now if you're a Roman general, you can see why you don't really like taking these pike factions on head on, because your troops have to fight all the way down those pikes to kill the men on the other end. So I think he's got something like 13 pikemen there. Just draw your attention to 2 cheap levy pikeman units there. Now those levy pikeman units are 120 man units. They've got long pikes like their superior units there, the royal pikemen, and they'll soak up pilots as good as any other unit. So as long as their morale's not very good, so as long as they stand, they'll still soak up the pilots. 1, 2, and I see he's got 5 units of Cretan archers. 4 upgrades. My guess is that's probably 3 attack and 1 defense there. Just a guess on that. And if you notice, he's got 2 fast moving general armoured units there. You can see cavalry general armoured units. He's only got gold shield, gold attack, but my guess is he's going to use those on soft targets like archers, or into the rear of tired engaged infantry. These guys move very fast and can be quite a flexible unit to use upon the 31k battlefield. So that's a tried and tested Macedon army, I think, there. And our 4th teammate is Brotherhood member Spartan Leonidas, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. I think he's got something like 13 or 14 infantry there, 2 archers. Let's have a look at the upgrades. Yeah, it's only I think he's only got 3 upgrades on those archers, and I think he's got 5 cavalry. Is it 5 cavalry? 7 upgrades. So he's got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. So yeah, he's got 5 cavalry there. So that's Spartan Leonidas' army. So there's our team there. Looks pretty good, but you wait till you see the other team. We're up against really good players. This should be great for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have RTW player Tut, who has bought the Rome Brutii faction. I think Tut's got 2 yeah, I think he's got 2 archer units there, and I think he's got something like 12 infantry there. Let's look at the upgrades. Looks like gold shield, gold attacks, 6 upgrades on each of those units there. I think on the forward units. Yeah, and if you look at the units on the back line of his infantry, can you see he's got 7 upgrades? So he's got his more elite troops with the experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack in his rear line of his infantry, and I see his general has got 8 upgrades. So that's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So that general is going to be very difficult to kill there. And I see he's got 6 cavalry. and the upgrades on those are just 6 upgrades on each, so that is gold shield, gold attack. So that's Tut's army there. As you know, Tut's a very good Pontus player usually, and usually brings Pontus, but for this battle he just bought the Rome faction. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Uther, who's bought the Rome Julio faction. Looking at the upgrades on his cavalry, can you see he's got 8 upgrades. That's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Uther always brings serious cavalry, and he uses them very well. So that is what I call very serious cavalry there with those type of upgrades. Then we look at his infantry here, an unusual formation. But I'd just like to draw your attention to his cavalry general unit here, the Roman armoured cavalry general unit, fully upgraded. So that's 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. And just to remind people that we always used to bring the Roman cavalry general up to about 7 or 8 years ago. It was just normal to bring that as our general unit. But about 7 or 8 years ago, we changed to a infantry unit for our general. So it's nice to see a bit of old school. Uther, Brotherhood member Conan, King's Marcus, all very good with this general unit, harassing and haranguing the enemy, disrupting their battle lines and things like that. So be interested to see how well Uther does. You see he's got 2 kind of polar shield units in front of his main battle line there. If you notice here, can you see that he's got an eagle unit? Now that's a good move by Uther, because as you know, the eagle unit gives morale to his troops. So that eagle unit will be giving morale to his infantry while they're fighting. So that's a good move. Well, his general could be off with his cavalry around the battlefield somewhere, and his general's giving morale to his cavalry while the eagle unit is giving morale to his infantry there. So that's a nice little move there by Uther. Tried and tested army. Okay, their next teammate is RTW player Turk. A lot of you will know Turk, and as you can see, he has bought the Rome Brutii faction. As you can see, I think he's got, I don't know if he's got any archer units there. Looks to me like he might have 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Let's look at the upgrades on his cavalry. 2, 3, 4, 6. So he's got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. And he's got 6 of those. So it looks like it's 14 infantry, 6 cavalry, the bog standard 31k army. And their 4th teammate is RTW player Chuck Monk. Now a lot of you know Chuck Monk, very good player. I notice he seems to be specialising in pike and spear factions lately. He likes to play with Macedon, and as you can see in this battle he has bought the Greek cities faction. I think he's got 10 Spartan units and 2, 3, and I think he's bought 6 Cretan archers. Just have a look at the upgrades on his Spartans. Yeah, 6 upgrades, so that'd be gold shield, gold attack. Basically that's all you need really on the Spartan units, they're so good. And then usually he's bought light cavalry. Now if you look at this Greek light cavalry here, can you see that he's got 8 upgrades? So it's 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on this light cavalry. So it'll be interesting to see how well he uses that cavalry during the course of the battle, because that's a lot of money to spend on cavalry. But maybe it may well be worth it, as we'll see during the course of the battle. As I say, he's got 6 long-range Cretan archers that can do a lot of damage. So there's the other team. Looks pretty good to me. It's got the ingredients to be a really great battle, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, this is the very early stage of the battle here, and if you notice that Crypto's moving his infantry round to the left flank. It looks like he's going to do a left flanking action on the enemy Greek cities army in front of him. Now on the face of this could be a bit risky, because as you know, as we've seen in other battle videos, Greek cities generals really like taking Rome infantry on head on. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. So as I say, Crypto's bringing his infantry around on a left flanking action on that Greek cities faction. But if you notice that Legion 22's got his pikes there ready to engage that Greek cities, those Greek city units. So what I'm thinking here is Crypto's going to get around the flank, and then Legion's going to engage them at the front there. It should be interesting to see if that is indeed what's going to happen. You can see Turk facing my army there. Not a lot going on, but you can see there's I think the archers are actually in the process of shooting at each other at the moment. As you can see, Spartan Leonidas is coming down here. Can you see that Uther's generals being used in an aggressive manner like we thought it would be? Harassing and haranguing the enemy, charging into the flank of moving troops. As you can see there, I think he's already caused 11 deaths to that one unit that he's just smashed into with his general there, his cavalry general. Let's say those fully upgraded armoured cavalry generals, extremely difficult to kill. and they can be used, as I say, very effectively, as Uther's proven there. Right, as I said, over here on the left you can see that Crypto is left flanking the enemy Greek city's army there. As I say, it is risky because Greek cities generally like to take Roman infantry on head on. But as you can see here, both Legion 22 and Crypto are working in combination here on the left flank. I noticed that Crypto and Legion always play well as a team together. I've noticed that in other battle videos. They're very good teammates, and this battle looks like it's going to be no exception. Right, if you notice here, Crypto's weakening the Spartans there by throwing pilers into them. That'll be a tactic that they would have spoken about there. Try and weaken the Spartans as much as he can with pilers before our Macedon ally crosses pikes with them. Right, if you notice here, the enemy are bringing cavalry reinforcements down here onto this left, so I would think tactically Crypto's looking to move back from that position there, and he looks like he's just doing that now. As you can see, that position that Crypto was in was really untenable, because if those Greek cities had engaged him and that enemy cavalry had smashed into his flank, he could have lost most of his army there. So good tactical withdrawal there by Crypto. But I thought the initial plan by Crypto and Legion was quite good there, trying to get that Greek cities general, the Greek cities there in that kind of attack position that they were getting in there, as you say. Now, the last thing that Legion wants is to be piloted by those Brutii Roman infantry, so it wouldn't surprise me if Legion pulled back a little bit there. As you can see, I've got my my army right next to Legion's there to support, and Uther's right in front of my army. But right over on our right flank here, you can see that Tut is moving his Brutii army towards the centre there. So not a lot going on over there. I can see the archers are still shooting at each other, but it looks to me like the main action is going to kick off on this left flank at the moment. Let's say I thought that was a nice tactical move there by Legion and Crypto there, what they were thinking there with that Greek city's army. But good quick thinking there by the enemy team, neutralised that threat. Right, you can see that Brutii cavalry unit there. It's charging straight into the pilot shield units of Crypto's army. Crypto reacts very quickly with a counter cavalry charger and routs that unit. If you look at the dead of Macedon there, you can see there's already a lot of Macedon pikemen that have been killed. Whether that's from pilot strike or archers, I'm not sure, but you can see how susceptible they are to missile damage. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. As you can see here now, Crypto's moving back from that left flank position that he was facing because he doesn't want to take on those Spartans head on. And the reason he did that at the beginning was because obviously he thought his Macedon ally was going to come in to take them on there. But as you can see that levy unit of 55 men there has just routed. That goes to show how poor morale those cheap levy units are. And the Brutii general's really pushing those infantry into our Macedon ally there with his cavalry backing up behind. As you can see, Uther and myself facing each other, and not a lot going on over on our right flank. But very often, as we've seen in other battle videos, sometimes whereas a quiet area seems nothing to be going on, all of a sudden things can kick off there. But as I say, at the moment it's just a bit of archer shooting going on over on our right flank, and it's pretty quiet there really, and our left centre as well. Our right centre there. Right, as you can see here, Tut's cavalry is 6 units there ready to charge in when necessary. So I say it's a nice tactical withdrawal there by Crypto. He doesn't want to take those Spartans on head on. The Spartan general would like him to, but Crypto knows this, so that's why he's pulling back. Now you can see Turk moving his Brutii infantry down towards Crypto's army there. As I say, Crypto would have thrown a lot of pilers into those Spartan units to weaken them earlier. Whether he's still got any pilers left now or not, I think I can see some pilers being thrown. And you can see that the enemy Brutii general there is throwing a lot of pilers. I think he's throwing a lot of them into the forward units of the Macedon units. And remember, those Macedon units are 120-man units strong there, 120-man units strong. And did you see some of the units are down to their 50s and 60s there, where they've been kind of suffered so many casualties from missiles there. Right, now newer players to Rome Total War, just going to pause the game here. Can you see that this Greek city's general is glitching? Now that's when your troops spread out uncontrollably, and what you must never do is attack glitched armies. Not only is it unsportsmanlike, but if you attack them, that player will probably leave the game, and then his teammates will leave the game, and then when they rehost a game in the lobby, you probably won't be invited in. So never attack a glitched army. As I say, very unsportsmanlike. Nobody wants cheap kills, and probably Crypto will pull back from that situation. As I say, if you look at our Macedon ally here, you can see how many casualties he suffered by just looking at the dead on the battlefield and looking how many men he's got left in his units. Remember, those are 120-man units. As you can see, a lot of Macedon units, men have been killed in those units there, as you can see on the battlefield. So Legion 22's units have been decimated by pilers and archer fire there, although our own archer units have probably been decimating the enemy archers as well. As you can see, Uther's red Julia units and mine are not engaged yet. But over on our right flank, you can see Spartan Leonidas has moved his infantry forward towards Tut's green Brutio units there. As I say, of this Greek city's army, do you notice how Crypto's pulling back his units there? He doesn't want cheap kills. Luckily, the Greek city's glitch has not gone into any of our troops there. It's just glitched off to the side, so he hasn't suffered any casualties due to that glitch. If you notice now, Crypto's moving away from those glitched troops. As I say, never attack the glitch army, as I say, that player will probably leave, and then the other players will leave, and the game will end, and let alone it being kind of unsportsmanlike. So say the Greek cities units now are starting to reform, and they haven't suffered any damage from that glitch, so that's good for the battle there. I say my guess is that Turk has thrown all his pilers into our Macedon ally there, looking at the number of dead and looking at how those units have been decimated by missile fire there. Be interesting to see if Macedon can hold against any concentrated attack there. As you can see, as we talked about in other battle videos, these big 120-man units are extremely susceptible to missile damage, and you can see that by the casualties that those units have suffered. Let's say you've got Tut's cavalry still out here on this left flank there, looking threatening there, ready to charge in when necessary. But if we look onto the far right flank, do you remember we were saying how quiet it was on that far right flank? And now all of a sudden things are starting to happen there. Can you see Spartan Leonidas charging his cavalry, and bang, as that cavalry hits. Nice concentrated cavalry hit there by Spartan Leonidas onto the enemy Brutio infantry. Now remember that Tut's cavalry is down the other end of the battlefield here, so he's lost his own cavalry support. If you notice that Uther's bringing his red Julii cavalry into the fray, and if you notice I'm bringing my blue Scipii cavalry into the fray, and bang as those two lots of cavalry smash into the fray there. So all of a sudden this right flank that was very quiet and nothing going on could prove pivotal to the outcome of the battle. Whoever wins here on this right flank could well go on to win the battle here. And as you can see, bang, as Tut's green Brutio cavalry charge in there as well. So as I say, it's a fierce battle here on the right flank. Like I said, there's every cavalry unit I think is being brought over to this right flank now from our team. I notice even the Greek city's general's brought his light cavalry over here as he spots how dangerous the situation could be for his team here. And bang, as that SBQR cavalry charges into the enemy green Brutii infantry. Let's just pause again for a second. So as I said, here on our right flank, which was quiet and benign for such a long time in the battle, could now prove pivotal to the outcome of this battle, because I'm sure you'd agree that what happens here, whoever wins on this flank can then roll up the other team from right to left there. As we move down the battlefield here, you can see Uther and myself not really engaging there, and you can see that the Greek cities here are engaging Crypto's army on this particular flank here. At this stage of the battle, I'd like to ask you a tactical attack question. So if you were in charge of these cavalry units here, you've got 5 fresh cavalry units, a little bit battle damaged, but still really powerful there. What would you do with those 5 cavalry units if you were on the other team? Would you send them up to that left flank maybe they might prove to be the winners. They smash in, fresh cavalry smash into that left flank there from the enemy. But you notice there's none of our cavalry left here. We've got all our cavalry on the other flank. So would it be a smart move to bring this cavalry round here? Bring that cavalry round here. And then smash into the rear and flank of our engaged infantry. Hammer and anvil attack. The Greek cities being the anvil and the Brutii cavalry being the hammer. Now bearing in mind all our cavalry are on the other flank, attacking the enemy flank there. We've got no cavalry cover this end. So the question is, if you were in charge of this cavalry, what would you do? Send it up to your left flank to try and shore up the left flank there for your team? Or do you think you could end the battle quickly by getting your cavalry round the flank of these engaged Scipii troops and maybe roll them up? What do you think if you were in charge of this cavalry? What would you do? Interesting. Okay, so meanwhile here on our right flank you can see there's a real tussle going on here with cavalry and infantry going in. Even, as I say, the Greek cities general sending in his light cavalry there as well, trying to help as much as he can. Uther's well upgraded cavalry, remember he got the 8 upgrades smashing in there as well. And you can see all our cavalry mass there, and we're charging in, and bang as that Scipii cavalry hits. You can see the enemy Brutii cavalry, really strong cavalry, touch cavalry charging in, and bang as that cavalry goes in. And then our Scipii ally charge in, and bang as that cavalry goes in. It's a real tussle here on this right flank. And like I say, whoever wins could go on to win the battle here. As you can see, it's a massive, massive melee going on here on the right flank. Loads of cavalry and loads of infantry. I say Uther and my arm is not really engaged there, but there's a lot going on over here on our left flank. You can see the Greek cities engaging Crypto's army there, and you can see that the enemy Brutii infantry is also engaging the our allies Crypto's army there as well. But as I say, the main thing is happening on this right flank. Let's see what's going to happen here. We are cavalry dominant on this flank, so in theory we should be able to break that flank there. But there you go. So the Brutii general here has made his decision. He's not going to send his cavalry up to the left flank to support his team. He's going to take his cavalry round the right flank here. Sorry, round his right flank, our left here. So he's not going to send them up there. He's going to come around here, and he's going to try and maybe end the battle here by routing all our Scipii allies units there. Remember, we've got no cavalry support down this end at all. So is that a good tactical move, bringing his cavalry round here instead of sending it up to the other flank? They say hammer and anvil attack. The Greek cities are the anvil, and that Brutii cavalry will be the hammer. Now, if he can rout all of our allies' infantry here along this line, then that could well be, like I said before, maybe a pivotal part of the battle there. As you can see here, it's really intense here between our Maston ally and our Scipii infantry against the Greek cities and green Brutii infantry there. So there's a lot going on all over the battlefield at the moment. As I say, both Uther and my own army there are not really engaged at the moment. I think we're both waiting to see what the outcome is going to be over on our right flank here. As you can see, a lot of enemy units are starting to rout now. Right, as you can see now, the Brutii general's got his cavalry over on that right flank like we thought. Now, if you notice, Crypto spotted that, brought some units over to try and neutralise the attack. But if you notice, Turks charging right through those, and bang! As that Brutii cavalry hits the first Scipio unit. Now that, and my guess is that Brutii cavalry is going to force its way through that unit to crash into the rear of those engaged Scipio troops. There you are, look, a really nice cavalry hit there by the enemy general there. Took out lots of our Scipii, engaged Scipii infantry there. Now, was this the right decision, bringing his cavalry round to this flank? What do you think? Looked like a good move at that particular stage. Okay, over here on our right flank, I say over here on our right flank, you can see we seem to be prevailing here. Remember, we are the blue and the purple over there on the right flank. Okay, so all those Crypto Scipio troops that were engaged against those Greek cities have now been routed. Now the Greek cities general, in my opinion, should be moving his troops quickly round to the rear of the other engaged Scipio troops there. They're just standing there, they're not doing anything. The Brutii general just freed them up there by getting rid of all the enemy infantry they were fighting. They need to move fast. Right, if you notice here, can you see I'm moving my Scipio army forward, trying to break through those couple of Brutii units there to get over to help my ally. If you notice that Uther's tactically withdrawn his Julia army to behind his enemy line, facing the threat from that flank. Nice tactical move there by Uther. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. So as you can see here, the Greek cities now are attacking Crypto's infantry really strongly there, after a lot of Crypto's units have been routed by that green Brutii cavalry hit. They say Uther's now pulled up a position there behind his allies there to try and face the attack coming from the flank. And you can see Brutii cavalry out at the rear of our troops there. Now if they're brought in to the rear of our engaged troops there, they could rout them. As I say, Uther's got his troops there ready to repel any attack. Right, if you notice here, can you see I'm charging my Scipio cavalry through my engaged infantry there, looking to smash into the flank of that engaged Brutii infantry. I'd like to get the Brutii general if I could, but I'm just charging my cavalry on through that, trying to avoid my allies' pikes that are down. Just trying to skip by those. There you go, we've managed to rout the Brutii general there.
The gods be praised!
So we've done well there, and now we're coming up against Uther's infantry there, as well as some Greek city units. You can see that Tut's green Brutii cavalry are still roaming the battlefield behind our engaged troops. If they smash into those Scipio units there, they could cause a lot of problems. Right, can you see Spartan Leonidas has lined up his battle damaged infantry to move forward onto Uther's red Julii army there. Right, if you just notice Tut's Brutii cavalry just charged into some more engaged Crypto's troops there and have routed them. Nice use of that Brutii cavalry there in that hammer and anvil attack. But I think looking around, we are still cavalry dominant at this stage of the battle, and that could prove pivotal towards the end of the battle there. As I say, you can see Spartan Leonidas has lined up his battle damaged infantry and is now moving towards Uther's Julii units there. With my infantry here, I'm just trying to smash through these Greek cities and just trying to really to hold and engage them as much as I can to give my allies chance to get round the flank and the rear of those enemy troops. As I say, I believe we are cavalry dominant at the moment. And it'll be interesting to see if that really does make a difference towards the end of the battle. But bearing in mind, we're up against the Spartans, which all, of course, have got anti-cavalry bonus. And there are other great specifications. To say this game could still well be in the balance at this time. Nice move there by Crypto, taking his Scipii cavalry around the back there and taking out the enemy Brutii cavalry. Right, if you notice here, can you see Uther's got his Eagle unit and his general stood just behind his fighting troops there, giving morale bonus to his troops. But Crypto spotted that and he's going to go for the, I reckon he's going to go for the Eagle unit there. If he goes into the rear of that Eagle unit, and bang! As that Scipii cavalry goes into that Eagle unit. Crypto, with all his years of experience, knows if he takes out the Eagle unit and the Red General, then of course that's going to take all the morale away from the Julii troops. Right, can you see? Both the Julii General and the Julii Eagle unit have just been routed there with that one hit by Crypto's cavalry. Nice. So all the Julii infantry's morale now will be low after having those two units taken out.
The enemy's hearts are full of fear and now they flee.
So see, now we're pressurising those Greek city units that are left. If we can get some units in behind those Greek city units, especially cavalry, then I think they will rout. Now, as you can see, they're in a pretty I think precarious position there is how I would describe it. There you go, we've got some battle damaged cavalry in behind. I see the Greek cities light cavalry still there, but they're pretty battle damaged there. And there's Crypto's cavalry coming in and bang into the flank and rear of those engaged Greek city units there. And we've managed to rout those. I think it's just a Greek city general that is now left out of the Greek cities units, and my guess is that the pressure on that general will start to tell pretty soon. There you go, and the Greek city's general has now been routed there as well.
But in battle, it's beyond belief.
Just going to pause the game here. Just want to have a look at the intensity of the fighting in this battle. Remember over on that right flank where everything kicked off from where it was quiet, and then it really kicked off there. Look at the cavalry and infantry dead in that massive pile there. You can see how intense the fighting was on that right flank. As we move down the battle line, you can see it gets a little bit quieter when we go into the centre areas there. Few dead there, but as we move over, you can see once again how intense the fighting was here. You can see how those big piles of dead there, just to show how let's say how intense and aggressive the fighting was here in this battle. Lots of dead cavalry I noticed all over the place there, as well as dead infantry. Oh, there's one man from the flying corps left there. But as I say, it was a really great battle, and it looks like our team has managed to just go on and manage to win this battle. I think that was a pretty close victory there. I know a lot of my units are very battle damaged, and I know a lot of my allies' units are very battle damaged. I think maybe apart from Crypto's cavalry, I think all his infantry were taken out there. But he did really well with that cavalry. Killed a lot of the enemy troops there, but I think all the enemy are dead now. Okay, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. It was great. It says average victory, but I felt it was more of a close victory myself. Don't know what you thought. Seemed a bit more close to me than that. Just like to draw your attention to Chuck Monk's Greek cities kills there, 1,823. Really well done to Chuck Monk there for getting the highest kills by a long way too there. So well played with Greek cities there. He did really well. I'd just like to say really well done to Crypto, Legion 22 and Spartan Leonidas. Really well played, guys. Some nice teamwork there and some nice hits. But also really well done to RTW player Tut. Really well done to Brotherhood member Uther. And really well done to RTW player Turk and Chuck Monk. Really well played, guys. Some nice moves there by you guys. And I was just wondering, Turk, when you saw this battle again, do you think taking your cavalry around that right flank was a good move, or taking them up to the left? I'm pretty split on that, because I think you going around to that right flank, you could have taken out, well, you took out loads of our teammates' infantry there, and nice little hammer and anvil attack there, working with Chuck Monk with his Greek cities there. Nice hammer and anvil attack. So I'll be interested to hear what other people think of that, of your cavalry move there. Okay, this is Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed this battle. Look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.